Oh yeah, baby. Can we just appreciate my persimmon stash? The way I have to place things because of my OCD is pretty insane. If you're a chocolate coconut lover and just a lover of things that fill you up and make you feel great, this one's for you. You don't know how white this camera makes me look. I don't mean that in like a I'm not white kind of way, because I am half. But it's so strange how in real life when people see me, they're like, oh my god, you're so dark. And I'm like, yes, I'm Persian. This camera makes me like 25 shades lighter. Don't know why. I've shown you my high protein hot chocolates before. I think the first one I ever made, I'll screenshot it. It must have been about 2 years ago. I made it with salted caramel. I've since made it with vanilla. I've made it with mint. I think I've made it with orange. But this coconut version takes the trophy. Brilliant. Brilliant setup. This is overflowing. Can you see the steam? Can you see the steam from there? Cheers. By the way, I've already had some, I think I had 3 or 4 big persimmon. You know how you have like the small persimmon? Then you have like the big persimmon. I had 3 or 4 of the big ones. They weren't super ripe, but they were super orange, which means they're always really sweet. Spritz with lime. You know I always start my day with fruit, and in the winter it's usually persimmon. Trying to think what other winter fruits I'm really into, but I can't think right now. Recently it's just been persimmon. This high protein hot chocolate, which to be honest, is so many different things in one. Okay, it's a hot chocolate. It's a protein shake. It's a smoothie. I thought I had more things to say about it, but I don't. I've always been obsessed with hot chocolate, like as far as I can remember. But specifically, because I remember, don't forget, like, my childhood was not like staying at home childhood. Like, I was traveling around the world, competing in tennis, right? So whenever I went to countries where they made like proper hot chocolate, I'm talking like Italy, Belgium, Spain, certain places in South America, I think. I always remember it was just so thick. It basically should always be just like melted chocolate. Not the watery crap that you get here in like Starbucks. Don't get me wrong, I love Starbucks, but not the hot chocolate. So the thickness of this is literally just heaven for me. It's basically crammed with whole food nutrients, but it tastes like a very naughty chocolate dessert. So can't really beat that, can you? I will leave the full instructions, ingredients, all that down below. Can play around with this. Usually, like fat-wise, I throw in whole cashew nuts, whole hemp seeds, which I also did use some hemp seeds today, or macadamia nuts, but obviously you can just skip that step and do what I did today and use a nut butter instead. To be honest, it just makes more sense. And like I said, this chocolate coconut version takes the trophy like way beyond the other ones I've made, even the peanut butter one. Peanut butter! By the way, if you haven't seen my recent peanut butter reel on Instagram, I'll link it down below. I feel like it was the most blunt review I've ever done in a 1 minute time frame. And the funny thing is, I mean, just go and look at the pinned comment on there because it pretty much says it all. Anyways, I'll see you at lunch. Cheers. I just randomly decided to like... I just made the most delicious apple cake. It's made with oats, dates, cinnamon. Beautiful. Okay, you all know I didn't make this. Jill did. I wake up, flex on down that check. No drip this. Tell them run it on. No speed, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it on. I wake up, flex on down that check. No drip this. Tell them run it on. No speed. When it's that bright orange, which you actually can't tell on this camera, that's when you know it's a super sweet, crunchy one. But like I always say with carrots, always organic. It's a different fucking vegetable. And I don't want any arguments about that. Lots of salt. Be generous, please. Garlic infused olive oil. Don't be stingy with that either. Little spritz of coconut aminos. If you don't have this, use balsamic vinegar. rings off before I toss, because you know how I feel about them kind of people who get their rings all oily. And then leave them on as well, what the fuck? I was gonna say, make sure to not overcrowd, because then they won't get crispy. And this is a perfect example of how to overcrowd. So, I'm not willing to put this on 2 sheets. I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it. Into a hot oven for about 25 minutes. These will be crispy, charred, caramelized, delicio. Is that even a word? I thought I would tell you this before I turn the air fryer on, because you know when that happens. They can hear it in Russia. My air fryer is literally louder than a helicopter. Like, my neighbors have banned me from using it after 8 p.m. because it's just that loud. And if I were to turn it on now and then try and explain to you what I'm doing, all you would hear was I wake up, flex, thumb down, now check, no drip, this, time to run it. I love nothing more than to test things in the air fryer. Like, I don't think there's many things, edible or not, that I haven't put through the air fryer at this point. But I always come back to butter beans. After air frying every single bean, lentil, I always come back to butter beans, because when you, like I always say, when you air fry them, it's not just the flavor, it's the texture as well. They pop kind of like popcorn, and you get like a crunch, an oily crunch. Usually I just roast them in garlic infused olive oil and salt and coconut aminos, or just lemon juice. But today I am going to take it a step further, and I thought, no, they need to be air fried. They need to be air fried in peanut butter. Peanut butter. I'm gonna make a little dressing, not dressing, marinade. What is that? Now I'm gonna make a little sauce, marinade, whatever you want to call it, with peanut butter, lime juice, salt, pepper. Look at that texture, absolutely beautiful. £1.29. I don't know a better bargain than that for something that is 100% peanuts and tastes that good. Brace yourselves, deep breathing, turn the volume down. You knew this was coming, because whenever I make a bowl, like a bowl, always sun-dried tomatoes. In fact, you know what? Speaking of air fryers, as seems to be the main subject today, put sun-dried tomatoes in the air fryer for about 5 to 7 minutes on like really hot. You have no idea. Avocado! First one, and we have a winner. Buttery. Sauerkraut, this is the one that I use. I can only find it in my local health food store. Shout out to Canterbury Health Foods. But it really is the best one I've ever had. And of course, big dollop of hummus. Little bit of sriracha. Honestly, just a smidge. Like, not that much, you know? I feel like flavoring the butter beans with the peanut butter was kind of an entry point to make it acceptable for the veggies too. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you understand my rationale? This takes the trophy for the best bowl I've made in a long time. And that means a lot, because I make fucking good bowls, like, all the time. The thing is, guys, there's already so much flavor on here. I won't ever apologize for the extra drizzle of peanut butter. But I'm gonna admit the sriracha was completely unnecessary. In fact, I only did that for Instagram. I know, it's really, really sad. 2 things to take from this video. Roast leeks and Brussels sprouts. It will change your life. Air fry your butter beans in peanut butter. Number 3, I never say this, but click the notification bell down below. Because you know I'm not afraid to speak my mind, which means I have been censored by YouTube. For the last 6 months, I do have a tendency to overcomplicate bowls, but I'm not about to apologize for it. Cheers. The flavs.
I wake up, flex, thumb down, now check. No drip, this tell 'em run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck, but first I stretch. Tell 'em run it up. I wake up, flex, thumb down, now check. No drip, this tell 'em run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck, but first I stretch. Tell 'em run it up. 9 out of 10 roll through my hands, I'm by my lonely. Turned to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies. Thought I could trust you.
Crunch factor and the nooch on top of the hummus. Don't care what anyone says. It does need some ketchup. Bon appetit.
Did you tell them what it is?
The cake I made earlier.
Cheeky.
Might crash, might wreck, but first I stretch. Tell 'em run it up.